Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Crafty Kathy and I'm so happy that you're here. The Dollar General store is having a huge sale right now where all their fall DIY decor is half off. You can't even find stuff at the thrift store for as cheap as what I found this weekend. So we're going to use the stuff that I found to make our crafts with today, and we are doing vintage inspired Christmas. The first thing we're going to use is this smaller dough bowl. Now this one was $6. The bigger one that you saw was $8. So they were half off, so I only spent $3 on this medium-sized dough bowl. I'm just going to grab some stuffing that came out from an old pillow. This is my faux snow. And I'm just going to kind of pull it apart a little bit because to me it just looks better when you do that and then put it back together. It just gives it a little spring in its step. I'm going to take these little pine picks that I have and I'm going to place a couple of them down. I am clipping the whole bottom part of them off. That way you won't see those old pesky wires sticking out everywhere. Now, I'm pretty sure that that sale that I came across is all across the country. They want to get rid of their fall stuff. And the sale was called BOGO, buy one, get one free. But of course, if it's the same price, if each thing's $8, you're basically paying like half price for everything, if you want to look at it that way. I got this little deer at Walmart a few weeks ago in their Christmas section. He was $3.98. I'm going to place him right in the center. And then I'm going to take one of the bottle brush trees from the Dollar Tree. I am going to put just a little bit of glue on the bottom of that. I'm going to put it right in the center. So I'm going to move these pine picks over just a little bit so I can get it positioned exactly where I want it. Now, I'm just going to use some hot glue because I don't want this to be permanent in my dough bowl, but I do want it to have just a little bit of a stick so it's not going to fall over if I move it or something. So one tiny little dab of glue is all it's going to take. And then I'm going to place my picks right back in there the way that I had them. I am so thankful that you stopped in to spend a little bit of time with me today. I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, and leave me a big thumbs up because that'll help me out on YouTube. And please leave me a comment. Let me know which one of these is your favorite. I'm just going to grab a couple of these pine cones. I get these at Dollar General, 8 in a pack for $1. I love the size of these, and I can't find them this size where they're all like perfectly shaped around my house. So I just buy these because it's convenient. I just stuck a couple of them here or there wherever I thought it would look good. And I'm going to add a few of these Dollar Tree berries. Now these are the larger berries at Dollar Tree. They also have some smaller red ones. And I placed approximately, I don't know, about 5 or 6 of these just here or there wherever I thought they'd look good. I put a couple of them there around the little reindeer and then just 1 or 2 in the front and the back of the bushes. So now I'm going to take some of my string lights. I get these off of Amazon, and these are always in my Amazon store in case you're interested. I'm just going to go around my tree a couple of times. I felt like it needed just a little bit of light. Now I'm not going to wind these very tight around this tree. I'm actually going very loosely, and I'm just going to go up the tree one time. I'm going to take that battery pack and I'm going to place it on the very back of the dough bowl. I had purchased some very small pre-made polka dotted bows off of Temu, and I love this red and white polka dot. Since we're doing vintage inspired, I thought that would be perfect on the top of our little tree. I'm just going to glue that there. And then the very last thing that I did to this DIY was take a very, very tiny bell that I got from Dollar Tree, and I placed it on the very front of the reindeer. He had a bow on his neck and some holly, but I felt like he needed something else, and it was the perfect finishing touch.
Christmas is just around the corner.
On our next project, we're going to work on this beautiful little wagon. I got 2 of these and I only paid $2.50 each for these. Of course, we're not going to use it where it says Farm Fresh Pumpkins. So what I'm going to do is just give this a really quick coat of DIY paint in the color called beadboard. And by the way, if you ever get a hankering to try out this DIY paint or the IOD materials, the pentart products, or the decoupage paper that you see me using so often, I get all of that from Milton's daughter, and I leave her information in the comment section and in the description box so that she's easy to find. Now, DIY paint is clay-based and it's self-leveling. It's my favorite kind of paint. I just absolutely think that no other paint can compare to it. It normally only takes 1 coat to cover up anything, but with the wording on this, it took me 2.5 coats to cover this booger up. Then I took the color Carnival Red. It's going to be perfect to do these wheels. It's a nice bright red. And I have a whole bunch of these like small ornaments. I get these at Walmart every year. They're $4.98 and there usually comes like 12 in a pack. But I'm going to take these snowflakes and I'm going to paint them white and I'm going to place them on the wheels also. I painted them with that same color beadboard that we had used earlier, and when the paint was still wet, I used this Sue Lynn Extra Fine Diamond Glitter. I get this off of Amazon. And since we're doing vintage inspired decor, we're going to put a lot of glitter on this stuff, honey, because you know back in the day, everything had glitter. I'm just going to apply my little snowflakes with a little bit of hot glue. Now, if you do this project and you want a really nice permanent hold, I would suggest using a wood glue instead because the hot glue may not be very permanent. I went through this IOD book and I got this Christmas. It's called CHRiSTMAS and it is the perfect vintage transfer book. Look at all these beautiful transfers that it has inside. And I picked out a few that I'm going to place on the front. Now, you don't have to have one of these transfer books. You can put some decoupage on the front of one of these or stickers. There's a lot of different options, but I had my IOD book and I'm definitely going to use it. I started out by putting this garland at the top. Now, they had about 6 different types of garland that you could pick from in this kitschy book. It had garlands made out of holly, and then this one has like pine, and it also has like the old vintage style ornaments in it. There were several that had stuff like that. And then some just had some, vintage looking flowers in it. It was so pretty. If you've never used a transfer before, they're super easy. You just take that backing off and place it down where you want it. And then all of the IOD transfers comes with this little tool that you just rub over it. And then you're just going to lift it up and that beautiful transfer is going to be right on your project. And it's perfect every time. Now, I'm not so sure why I didn't record this next part, but I placed 2 little girls and a little elf right in the center. And they're also from that same kitschy book. And then I just felt like it was lacking something, so I added these beautiful little golden bells right to the top. When the season changes, be on the lookout for these BOGO sales at the Dollar General. I always get my stuff for half off or even 90% off, and I always just flip it and use it for the very next holiday. I made these little molds from the new IOD mold called Santa's Sleigh, and it's beautiful little presents. I went ahead and painted them red and green. Now I'm going to take this pentart glossy varnish and I'm going to place it all over the top. And then while it's wet, I'm going to grab that diamond glitter that I love to use and just place it all over each of the presents. I love a little bit of glitz in all my Christmas stuff. I just can't help myself. And that varnish not only helps to hold that glitter on there, but it's going to protect that paint on each of these little presents. Now, anytime when I'm putting a mold on something, I always use that wood glue. There's been a few times when I might just be in a rush or something and I stick it on with hot glue, but the preferred method to put these on with is some good wood glue. I like to use that Type Bond Quick and Thick, and I always just pick it up at the Walmart or on Amazon. So I just went through here and I stuck 2 presents on each side because I just felt like that kind of evened things out a little. And that wood glue takes a little bit to dry, and I knew if I flipped my wagon upright that those presents could slide right off the front before they dried. So I went ahead and placed the rest of that garland around the very top of my little wagon.
Feeling alone, kinda misty, waiting now for you to come. It's cold again.
The next project is going to be this sign. I got 2 of these for just $1.50 each. Now, I absolutely hate to paint over that beautiful green leaf pattern, but it doesn't really go with our vintage Christmas theme, so we got to. The first thing that I'm going to do is cover that center portion up with the beadboard by DIY Paint. It just took 1 coat to get all these words covered up really nicely. The next thing that I did was take the Carnival Red and a very thin flat brush so I could get it all around the sides without getting it on the wood. As you can imagine, that leaf pattern was a little bit more stubborn, and it took 2 coats to get it covered up very nicely. So I have some stencils that I got off of Amazon, and it just says Merry Christmas and it had a pattern on it. But I cut it down into smaller pieces so that way I could fit it and lay it flat down on this sign. And whenever I'm stenciling, I use a stencil brush every time, and I always have very little paint on my brush. And I like to do mine in a tapping motion. I feel like if you do that, you have less room for mistake. I just hold it down with my finger and make sure that I have most of the brush offloaded from the paint, and then I just tap, tap, tap all over it. There were still a couple little spots that I needed to work on really quick, but the word Christmas came out perfect, and I placed it down in the center. I used DIY paint in the color called Black Velvet to put my stencil on, and it absolutely drives me crazy that stencils don't have like a continuous flow. So I always go back and just kind of connect the letters because that drives me crazy when they're kind of halfway done, if that makes sense. And I'm not even sure if you know what I'm talking about, but for instance, that C down at the very bottom, it just has like a gap right in the center, and it makes no sense to me. So I just go through and just connect it all back together. That's just my personal preference. I think it looks so much better now that I've got all the letters connected and straightened back up. I've got this little gingerbread set. I think there was about 6 of these in a pack from Hobby Lobby, and when they're half off, they're only like $2.50. And it's 3 sets, 1 boy and 1 girl. And I'm just going to take the little boy and place him kind of on 1 toe. He looks like he's on 1 foot, and her also. And I had painted up some more of those little snowflakes that I showed you earlier that I get from Walmart. And I also added that glitter to them. And I'm just going to place some of these on the corners. I decided to put 2 big ones, 1 on top and 1 on the bottom. And then I had 2 smaller ones. And I'm going to place these in the same spots on the corners. And I desperately need to buy some Christmas little tinsel, I call it, like little garland pieces in ribbon. And you can get it at Temu, but right now I don't have it. So the next best thing that I have are these pipe cleaners. They look like the old-timey tinsel to me, so that's exactly what I'm going to use. I measured out how much I needed to go across the top and the bottom and the two sides, and then I just glued them in. Now I'm going to grab some of these little white berries. I get these at Dollar Tree. I actually found these just this year. I'm going to cut the little wire down where it's much shorter, wind it around itself, and I'm making these look like little balloons like the gingerbread boy and girl are going to be holding them. That's why I put them on one foot or looking like they're kind of going up in the air. Now I'm going to take a very tiny bottle brush tree. I don't know where this came from. More than likely it was Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to glue it right beside my little boy gingerbread. And now to finish this piece off, I felt like that little bottle brush tree needed some snow. So I took some of my polyfill and just placed it right underneath.
Then you know it's Christmas.
If you stuck with me through all of today's video, I just want to say thank you, and I am so glad that you came and set a spell and just spent a little bit of time and crafted with me. I hope that you like my vintage inspired DIYs today. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what in the world are you waiting for? You know I would love for you to be a part of my family. It's totally free as always. You just hit the red subscribe button. And if you will, please hit the like button because that really helps me out on YouTube. And let me know which of these was your favorite. I'll see you guys soon, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Did you know that if you're on a phone or a tablet that you can click on my face right here and subscribe to my channel? You sure can. And if you enjoyed this content, I have another video right here that you can click on, and it'll take you there as soon as this one's finished. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. God bless you and your families.